Hello and welcome again. In this video we continue to look at foundations of environmental systems and societies. This series of course made for first exams in 2026, which means it covers work for both the higher level and the standard level. But at this stage we continue to look at both SL and HL under one set of lessons. Later on, we will expand and we will begin to look at solutions to problems through three HL lenses, which include economics, law, and ethics. In addition to that, of course, you have additional topics which will be included for higher level students. But right now, we are still looking at the foundations of ESS, and we are looking today at 1.2 systems, looking specifically at negative feedback or feedback loops within systems, which means negative feedback and positive feedback. But of course, it would not be sufficient to just look at these concepts in isolation, write down definitions and draw diagrams without connecting them to some bigger context or case study, which is essential in ESS. And as we make that bigger connection, it's important for us to look at perspectives, sustainability, and anything else that we can find that connects to this holistic study of environmental systems and societies. So today, I'm going to be highlighting for you the wolves of Yellowstone Park as a classic case study to show negative feedback, tipping points, keystone species, how the environmental system affects society and how society affects the environmental system. So let's move in and take a closer look.
So as we work our way through the ESS course, we'll be taking a conceptual approach to teaching, contextualizing the teaching, connecting content to context, and having both of those connected to the three foundation concepts of ESS: sustainability, systems, and perspectives. And it's hoped and envisaged that this would bring about more powerful engagement and understanding and a holistic appreciation of the course, as opposed to simply taking notes on negative feedback, positive feedback, systems, keystone species, and then only at the very end students being exposed to case studies. We will be taking an approach with looking at the case study and building as many of the concepts around those cases as we tie up the content. And of course, it helps that we've already had a series of videos made for all of the content areas from previous courses, which I will be linking for you. As we work our way through 1.2 systems, we will define systems as sets of interacting or interdependent components. And the study of Yellowstone Park is going to show how much interaction there is within a system among the different trophic levels. The term trophic cascade will be brought to the fore in the video made by National Geographic. Of course, Yellowstone, like most systems on Earth, it's an open system. The planet Earth itself is possibly an example of a closed system, but that too is not entirely closed. But our main focus with this video on Yellowstone is to look at the negative feedback loops that exist between the wolf and the elk, and how the elk was related to the aspen, and then the role of the wolf as a keystone species. And the data would show that Yellowstone was possibly well on its way to reaching a tipping point just before the wolves were reintroduced. So the term keystone species comes up in another part of this ESS guide, and today we use the opportunity to look at tipping points, trophic cascades, and of course specific examples of negative feedback and the pivotal role that the wolf played in bringing about regulation, direct regulation of the elk population, and all of the other impacts that it had as a result of that, highlighting its role as a keystone species in Yellowstone. And here you can see it allows us to touch on 2.1.23, keystone species have a role in sustainability of ecosystems. And that, of course, brings in the idea of sustainability. It touches on something that we are about to come to later on, which is topic 2, ecology, and then, of course, another foundation of ESS, which is sustainability. To finish watching the short video clip on Yellowstone wolves, then you can proceed to this worksheet here, which was created by ChatGPT after I gave it some prompts on what exactly to make for me. The data here is not necessarily 100% accurate, but it does reflect what the scientific trend is at Yellowstone. The wolves were introduced in 1995, reintroduced, and that did bring about a reduction in elk populations. Its impact, this impact of the reduction of the elk on the density of aspen trees and on beaver populations can also be seen here. The video highlights highlights some other aspects of what was known as the trophic cascade and the role of the wolf as a keystone species.